Hi, I'm Lou Mongello, author of the Walt Disney World trivia books and host of the WDW Radio Show. I'm here to tell you about my newest project, the audio guide to Walt Disney World. In this series of audio CDs and downloadable files, I'm going to take you on a virtual tour of Walt Disney World. Along the way, I'm going to show you some of the overlooked details, hidden treasures, secrets, history, and fun facts that make Walt Disney World such a magical place. And we're going to start off with the first in the series right here on Main Street, USA. As you step onto Main Street, USA, you're welcomed by the sights and sounds of an era gone by. A Victorian-era town loosely modeled after Walt Disney's childhood memories of Marceline, Missouri, where he spent many years as a young boy. Walt Disney World's Main Street, USA, much like Disneyland's in California, are both small in scale, forming a warm, inviting environment. While it was meant to be symbolic and theatrical, it's also meant to be inviting and practical for people to wander, shop, and explore, as it was important to Walt that his town would really reflect the American dreams and work ethics that helped build this great nation. As we begin our tour around Main Street, we're going to start off with the Walt Disney World Railroad Station, which is really appropriate because Walt was a big railroad fan, going so far as to have a 1/8 scale model called the Carolwood Pacific built in the backyard of his house at the Holmby Hill section of Los Angeles. The first floor of the station is filled with wonderful details and hidden treasures that the casual guest often overlooks. In addition to maps showing the railways that cross the United States, you're also going to find 4 posters depicting the 4 steam trains that ply the Walt Disney World Railroads. Across the hallway, you can see a train bulletin hanging on the wall, which is a true hidden treasure. The arriving and departing trains on each row pay subtle homage to a number of Disney films and characters, as well as some other Disney legends and train aficionados. So, for example, the first row shows trains arriving from Grizzly Bear Flats and departing to Kimball Canyon. This honors Ward Kimball, who was a legendary Disney animator and, like Walt, was also a railroad enthusiast. On the second floor, where you board the Walt Disney World Railroad, you can find a number of wonderful artifacts and antiques, such as some old mutoscopes, including some that were once found in the Main Street Penny Arcade. You can also find a J.P. Seberg player piano from 1927, posters, and more. The entire building is filled with rich history, not only of some of the people who helped create the magic, but the history of the park they helped design, and the history of American railroading. As you walk around Town Square, make sure you stop and visit the often overlooked Harmony Barbershop, established, according to the story of Main Street, USA, in 1886. It's a real working barbershop, complete with 3 old-style barber chairs. Here, you or your children can get a haircut with special treatment given to those children who mark their first visit to Walt Disney World with their first haircut. Complimentary Mickey ears, complete with first haircut embroidered on the back, are given as a souvenir of the occasion. As you learn from these audio guides, everything in Walt Disney World has a story, and Main Street, USA is no exception. On the CD, you're going to find out how this town and its people grew and prospered, as evidenced by the growth of a store like the flagship Emporium. As business prospered and the town grew, so did the store, requiring expansion farther down the street. So as you step inside some of the new construction, you'll see the architecture and interior decor is somewhat different than the rest of the Emporium, evidencing its newer construction, but still keeping the Victorian theme and charm. Be sure to look up and around throughout all the stores, and you'll see antiques ranging from children's toys to apparel, furniture, and so much more. In the area that was once known as West Center Street, a large mural dated 1901 graces the back of the store, showing pedestrians of the time shopping in the grand style for personal luxuries and the finest fashions. Notice, too, the high domed ceilings, ornate chandeliers, faux stained glass skylights, and beautiful glasswork. Again, no detail was left out of Disney's vision of this charming town and its flagship store. As you walk through Town Square and make your way down Main Street, USA, you'll see that many of the second and third story windows have the names of individuals and companies that may or may not seem all too familiar. And if you remember, Walt Disney was the first name that you saw when you approached the park on the front of the Walt Disney World Railroad Station. Well, these windows and the names that are painted on them honor persons who were instrumental in the design, development, and prosperity of Walt Disney World and the Disney Company as a whole. In addition to being one of Disney's most cherished honors, it also gives guests an insight into some of the people behind the scenes who helped make the magic happen. These windows serve as the opening credits for the show that you're now about to be immersed in. If you're fortunate to time it just right, you might even be treated to a song from the Dapper Dan's Barbershop Quartet. This group has been performing their traditional harmonious tunes since the park opened, and it blends a mix of comedy, guest interaction, and an unbridled love for what they do, which is making people happy. You might even get lucky enough to catch them inside the confectionery, which is filled with the aroma of many sweets, such as fudge, candy apples, and peanut brittle, that are being prepared in the real confectionery kitchen behind the glass wall at the rear of the store. So that marks the end of our very brief journey down Main Street, USA. It marks the beginning of your adventure throughout the Magic Kingdom and the entire Walt Disney World Resort. To learn more about the secrets, history, and fun facts behind the magic, you can pick up your copy of the audio guide to Walt Disney World, Main Street, USA on CD or download. I'm Lou Mongello. Thanks for watching.